Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at TechTrader.com. It's April 30th. It's Thursday. These are the charts of the day. Well, the market got some profit taking today, which was overdue. We're at resistance, and a lot of stocks that we've been looking at, particularly on the swing side, have really extended and are at some points where profits should be taken, at least half your positions perhaps, and some stops tightened. Let's take a look at APA as a perfect example. It's run from under 4 to over 14. And in the last week and a half, it's jumped from 7 to 14 and doubled. Today, it was still on the upside, even though it sold off the high of 14.05. It actually got to 15 pre-market, I believe, so it's coming off already. There is a moving average and price support at around 12, and then beneath that 10 and a quarter, and that's where you got to stop it if you're still long that. The targets that we built are 16 and 19.20 zone. CGC's backed off after breaking out, and is now retesting. Difficult stock to trade, no question, but it's the V-bottom with the platform and the breakout has me encouraged that we may hold this zone and try to come back up again. But stay tuned and keep your stops in place. CYDY up to resistance and backed off today. It was still up about 8%, but nevertheless, with resistance at 384 and today's high at 374, that's an area you got to get through before you can get to 5 and 6. DRI, the restaurant chain, finally backed off. Yesterday, it reaching 81 from a low in the 20s. That's a fantastic move. As you can see, it's already beginning to back off, and it's at the moving average, which is the trend line, and it's a real strong trend line. There is a line of support between 68 and 70 that I do not want breached. If it does come down there, we may see mid to high 50s again. ERI also in a nice position with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the pullback and consolidation in this zone. If it manages, in my mind, to hold around that 18.5 level and consolidate, then it may yet get to 30. Gilead, obviously positive news today. The stock went up, backed off after hours. I think they had earnings, and that's why the stock had a little bit more energy, but it's stalled right about the 82 zone right now, down a couple points after hours. And you'll see a triple top right there, and around that 86 here. Should it ever get through there, this is going to be an 89 and $95 stock. Gush in the ETF group for oil and gas. What a fantastic move up for 2 weeks in a row now. And you can see the stock has done very, very well here. And with tremendous technicals, I suspect if oil continues, this is a $50 stock. Inmd broke out and pulled back. Sometimes they do that, but I do like the overall structure and the breakout here, so we put a swing on it. Looking for 30 and 34 and then more. INO has been pulling back now after a run up of about 6 days in a row and getting to resistance level up around that 16.5 area. Today it dropped $1.71 to 12.5%, so the caution is right here because this is your stopping point. Any further damage and you are likely to see the stock around 9.5. Stay tuned and be careful. MEIP finally popped out a couple of days ago, and it's been running 5 days in a row up before today, stalling off 3 cents or 1%. Not a big deal, but I was looking for more. I think the stock is headed for 3.5, maybe 4.5. MNK broke out slightly and stalled there, but it was still up about 5% on 8 million. If I can get it up through the 440 area, which is the near-term resistance, we may see a stock going north near 6. mRNA in a 2-week pullback flag after a big run-up, kind of orderly. I like the look of it. It's at or near the trend line. Your stop is under 43. Resistance 51, targeting 56 and 60. PENN in the gaming group also stalled at resistance near this gap and near the 50-day moving average. Now, it's had a pretty big move from about 3 3/4 to as high as 18 3/4, so a big move, 5-fold. And so we're going to be very careful with this one up here. But momentum could carry it to 22.3. Valero was a great swing that went literally from 40 to mid-60s, 66 3/4, stalled there. There's resistance there. Let's see if it backs and fills and flags. Your next target's high 70s. Vaxar disappointingly has pulled back for 3 days after breaking out, no follow-through, and a disappointing pullback. Any further damage under, say, 2.5 would be a potential stop. And finally, Zyxi is moving sharply higher from the early April lows around 9.5 has ramped to 18.25 and doubled. Today was an inside day, but a positive one, up $1.85 or 12%. Volume strong. I think the stock extends to 20. Now we'll look at some bucks of shorts to prepare you for what may be coming. When I see a stock that moves up in 5 waves and the technicals don't, it usually tells me it's not as strong as some others we follow. This one is a retailer that's gone from 13 to 32, maybe due for a pullback targeting 27 and 22. Boot, same thing. 5 waves up, not the best technicals. Resistance at the 50-day moving average and price resistance comes in around 19, 20 zone. So a little long in the tooth, perhaps. The FS also popped out, got to the 50-day moving average and backed off today. Lost almost 3 points or 6%. Not enamored with the technicals. These are why I'm showing you these. Gentex in the automotive parts group. 5-wave move to resistance and it backed off today about 3%. Easy stop on this one above 25.5. If it does move further, it may be a stock that reaches the high 20s. But if it comes down, a retest of 22 or even 20. 20 may be in order. Another company in that same group, GPI, up to the moving average and backed off. Again, if momentum carries it forward, we could see 70, but any pullback could taste 50 and maybe even 43 again. K&L looks terrible. With that big a drop, that's the best it can do. I'm looking for the stock to retest and get back to the 8.5, 9 zone. MGPI, pretty good move, but a big reversal day, and with big volume too. I'm thinking the stock pulls back down and retest somewhere around, I would call it 31, 32. And SP, 5 waves up, same thing here, lousy technicals. My feeling is it's going to do some retesting there, 39, maybe 34. And VCR, massive reversal today, dropping from 75.75, 10 points, and finishing at the lows for the day, going away. Looks like a stock that wants to go much lower. I look for 58.60 and 54 thereabout. OLED, again, another stock with a 5-wave advance with lousy technicals, low volume, looking for a pullback retest in the 130.32 zone, maybe 118. PLAN, rising wedge, right to resistance, and a reversal day. Careful on this one. I don't want to see it above today's high, but a pullback can get you 34 pretty quickly. And finally, TripAdvisor has been ugly all year. It's dropped from 70 or 65 to 14, 13 range. This wedge doesn't do it any good. And I think if it fails here, you're going to retest the lows around 14, 15. That's the short of it. And the long of it was presented earlier, and that's a look at some of my best ideas going long and short going forward. Have a good evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow, TGIF.